Hi, thanks for clicking on Hey Melissa Crochets. I'm Melissa, that's Larry. That's you, right? Your name Larry? Um, you're so funny. These great facial expressions. So, if you watched my yarn organization video part 2, this one right here, you would have seen that this cabinet behind me is full of blanket yarn. And it's been causing me a little bit of anxiety lately because after watching that video, after editing it, I'm like, why is there so much? Because it happens so fast when you work for the manufacturer and they're like, take this because, you know, it's not going to production or it was extra or whatever. And like some of it I did buy, of course, yes. That being said, so I got it mainly all into these 3 cabinets right here. So that's what I have at this time. It's a lot. So I would really like to start using some of it up. Last year and the year before that, I had made a lot of blankets for charity. And a lot of the blankets that I had made were going to a youth shelter in the city nearest to us. And then when somebody would visit the youth shelter, they were allowed to keep the blanket they chose to sleep with that night inside. And then they could take it back to where they were staying. And then that place went under construction. And the person I had contact with there, like one of the staff members, said, I'm sorry, we're under construction. We just don't have the storage room right now for any more charity blankets. So I was like, oh no, because that's what it was using up a lot of my yarn. So that's kind of why it has accumulated so much right now. Usually I can work through it pretty fast with the blankets, right? So I'm going to make some blankets. I reached out to the girl at the youth shelter to say, hey, has your construction finished? If so, please let me know because I would love to make some more blankets. That was the gist of it. And then if she says no, one of my thoughts is, and I do really love this idea, I want to post on my local town Facebook group and say, hey, I'm taking applications for, little kids who may not get a big birthday gift from their parents because the parents can afford it, or, any other situation. Maybe they had a house fire and somebody could use a really cozy blanket, just for comfort. So that is another option. I might actually do both of them. But in any case, I want to pick out some yarns today and sit on the couch for a few hours, watch a movie or two, and just start whipping them up. So now I want to decide on some color palettes. So let's do that together. Okay, so I have my plastic bucket on the floor. It's kind of what I keep things in when I'm working on them. It's just a standard 15-liter container. I love these. I use them a lot. So I'm going to start adding some yarns into here. The first yarn I want to use, if you remember, I have a lot of this. Also, I apologize if you have dogs at home and you're watching this and they heard the squeaker. Because when that happens to us, like on a YouTube video, it's like, oh no, here we go. So I apologize. I'm sorry. I will use my video editing tool. They have like a background noise eliminator. I don't know how well it's going to work on squeakers though. So keep that in mind. I am conscious of that and I'm sorry. You want to sniff that? Yeah. So this is the first one I want to use because I have a lot of it. I did manage to give some more of it away to a friend, but I still have more. Here we go again. And I'm thinking that these are the last 2 cakes I have. I'm hoping they are because if you watched that last video, you know how much I had. Quite a lot. I'm not going to explain the story to that. Go watch that video. Yarn organization part 2. And then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So I do like to put like a variegated and like a solid together. I think navy looks really good with this one. And I do have a lot of navy. As you can see, it's like this whole stack right here. So I can do these 2 together. So I think they look pretty good together. I am partially colorblind, so it may not be a perfect match, but it's for charity, and honestly, they'll appreciate it. And I will appreciate being able to use up some yarn. Because, that's just the way it is sometimes. I don't think there's going to be enough for, like, a really big blanket. Like, I'm not going to make king size or anything, but I still want it to be a decent enough size for, like, a child to feel covered and cozy. So, I'm thinking we need one more color with this. It might actually work well with this. I think this is the only gray I do have of like this exact color. Larry likes to inspect things, make sure they're safe to use. Quality control. That's already been done with the yarn. I work there, I know this. Okay, so the last one I picked up is this dollar store speckle type yarn. It might get me one row of the blanket. So we'll see how far this one gets us. So if we count here, there's 2 big blue, small blue, big gray, and 2 of these green. And they're pretty big. So let's see what size of blanket we can make out of this. I got about 9 stitches into the gray, and Larry needed a cuddle break. But that's okay. We like cuddles, don't we? Yeah, there we go. Are you handsome? Larry's a big cuddle boy, which I love. My last guy was too. Not as much as this one though. You dry boogies. Larry also loves yarn. I think it's me influencing him though. So if I'm crocheting or knitting or doing something and he's laying on the floor, usually like right down here, he's attacking the yarn while it's moving. And I'm like, dude, you're not a cat. Strip 1 done of part 2 of the blanket. And Larry's ready for his afternoon nap. It's getting really hot here. So the back of our house faces east, so in the morning the sun makes the kitchen pretty warm. And then now that the sun is in the west, because it's, I don't even know what time it is. What time is it? 2:30. It's 2:30 right now. And the sun is just beating down on the big window here in the living room, so Larry's gonna go in for his nap. This is what he does when he watches me. You going for your nap? Now I'm gonna go upstairs, clean the bathroom, do the bed sheets, vacuum. You know, all the things that need to be done. So, get that done instead of, you know, sitting around crocheting all day. I do want to give my hands and my wrist a bit of a break, so I'm gonna go do all those things and then I'll be back later to continue. Boop boop. Okay, so I finished this one last night around, I want to say like 9 p.m. I need to calculate how many hours it took me. I want to say it took 2.5 plus probably about 3, so 5.5. So yeah, about 5.5 hours, I'd say. Turned out really nice, and this will be going towards charity. So it's nice to use up this green yarn because I had so much of it in the beginning. Again, if you want to know the story behind that, feel free to watch Yarn Organization Part 2 on my channel. That's where I talk about all my blanket yarn and basically where all of it came from. It is now the morning after posting about my newest charity initiative online. I wanted to post it in our local Facebook group. We have like a town-wide one type thing, but I wanted to remain anonymous, and they turned off anonymous posting, which is a good thing in my opinion. But I know somebody who is an admin/moderator, so I said, do you mind posting this for me? And then you can turn off notifications so you don't get pinged all the time, and I'll turn on notifications so I do get pinged all the time. And how I had done it is made a little spiel about it. She posted it for me, and then I also made a Google form that people can nominate a child. And yeah, so it's the morning after. I have had no responses yet, but she didn't post it until like late last night, probably around like 9 p.m. So maybe over the weekend, or somebody will post, or fill out my form, about a child in need and somebody who needs a cuddly blanket. So hopefully that'll work out for me. I might post it in a few more places. There is, a few larger towns not super close to us, but one of my stipulations is that they have to pick it up. But I will put it in like a cute bag with like a little card from the Blanket Fairy. And I want to remain anonymous during this. So when they pick up from my workplace, I will just tell them, like, the people who, not like the nominees, have to be the one to pick it up. Not like the child, but like the person who nominated them. I'm just gonna tell them, oh, my coworker said this was for you. Because I don't want to be like, here you go. I hope they love it. I made it, So I think it'll be a good little program. As I had mentioned previously, a lot of my blankets went to a homeless shelter, youth shelter, so teenagers, youth, in the city closest to us, Kitchener-Waterloo. But when they underwent construction, they were like, hey, hold off on the blankets for a bit. We don't have the storage right now. I'm like, no, because it's just nice to, do some mindless crochet while you're watching YouTube or watching a movie or whatever. And that's what I really like the blankets for. You can do other things like crochet wise that are pretty mindless in front of a movie. Like I like to do granny squares. Or what did we watch recently? And I'd never seen it before, so I wanted to pay attention. It was a Steve Martin movie. Oh, The Jerk. We watched that. It was a good movie. And then while we were doing that, I made like the little insides of the Daisy Granny squares. So like the very first row. So I think it's 12 double crochets into a chained circle. And then I think during the movie I got about, how many did I get done? I don't think I ever counted them, but it was a full skein of like an acrylic Red Heart Super Saver. So I think I got about 70 or 80 of those finished in the one movie. So that worked out good. I still have a bunch of those left. And, you set them aside and then you go back to them like in a bit. And, I can't keep focus on one project. I know a lot of people are like that. So honestly, it's fine. You gotta do what works for you. Whatever keeps you motivated, and you keep your Crojo. Not Mojo, but Crojo. Apologize for portrait mode, but it's just easiest when you have a long blanket like this. Okay, so here it is. I did have enough of the twist yarn for the border, so that was great. And this is it. I was fine doing some granny stitches on this one, especially around the border, because it's a really large blanket, so it'll go to like an older child. If it was like a young child, I wouldn't have done blanket stitches. Sorry, not blanket stitches, granny stitches. So it's quite nice. It was nice to use up a bunch of these yarns. So the yellow is now all gone. I used up a cake of black, a dollar store gray, this one here. I have a lot of the teal still left. I think it was a full skein that I caked up. I used up all the blue one. And as I said earlier, I only used a little bit of the variegated orange because it's so pretty. And I want to use it on a cardigan at some point to sell. So yeah, I do like the border. Kind of looks like static, actually. I don't like blanket twist. I don't like the thickness to it. I know it's almost the same as blanket, but I just don't like it. I don't really need to have a reason, but I just don't like it. So yeah, it turned out quite nice. So that's blanket number 2 for the Blanket Fairy to give out. always the hardest part for me because I'm partially colorblind. I have a hard time putting colors together and like telling two different shades apart. Usually it helps with consistency. It's like these two, I can tell that is like a bit of a thicker consistency, and this is more of like a smooth and shinier consistency. So I think I'll put the smooth and shiny together. My least favorite color is red, so it'd be nice to get these into a blanket and out the door. So I'm not really going to use them for anything for myself. I mean, like, yeah, I could make some blankets and stuff, or blankets, cardigans. Okay, so I think I have 3 of these. So 3 large cakes of those. I'd like to pair something with it, but I don't want to do green because then it's, you know, it's a Christmas blanket. I think I might do any navy that I have. Because navy and red do look good together, and maybe a hockey fan would like that. It's very much Montreal Canadiens color. Okay, that's what I have for that. So I'm going to set that aside so it's not in my vision and distracting me, because then I'll change my mind. You know, you know. Okay, so I'm thinking this with that ugly moss color. This moss color does not match anything at all. I mean, that you put with white or black, but boring. So I'm going to pair it with this. I do have one more moss here. I've had this moss for so long and like nothing matches it. So I'm not surprised that it's a discontinued color, because would you buy that color? I mean, I love calf shade yellow, but this is a calf shade green. So what can you do? Okay, so I'm going to put those 3 together in a blanket. I'd like to add another solid color, because no variegated are going to match that. I wonder about this like olive green. No. I do have one of these, which is like a variegated black. I think I might put those together, just because I got nothing else. Ain't got nothing else for that. I do have a gray. That was left over from the first blanket we did. So I'll throw that in there. Just because. Something that would be great to use up is this stuff. If you watch my yarn organization video part 2, and when I was winding my yarns with the Stanwood, you'll hear all about this yarn. So I'm not going to talk about it again. So I have 4 cakes of that left. 4 quite large cakes. These all came from Ogo's. Okay, I'm not going to do just that in a blanket, but the teal doesn't really match. Kind of, sort of. Not really. I need a solid color. I wonder if the olive green would be okay. It doesn't look terrible. I could stripe it easily. Maybe I'll do that. Blanket number 3 is finished. This is the one I want to make look like a ladybug. It's pretty cute. I didn't have a lot of the red, so I ran out during the border, but it's okay, as I ran out near the black. So it's pretty cute. So that's blanket number 3 for the Blanket Fairy to hand out when we finally get some nominees. So far, no responses. Today is day 2 of it being live. I finished this cute little one. I figured that could be for like a small child. I wanted to try color work. It was my first time. I see it's a little lopsided, but that's okay. As I said, it's my first time doing color work. And I don't like this moss color, so I want to pair it with a little something and do some practice at the same time. So I'm gonna add that to the pile. That's blanket number 4. Obviously that'll be for a smaller child. We got our first response. Somebody nominated a 16-year-old to get a blanket. I did up to age 16 because I remember being 16 and sometimes you just need comfort as a 16-year-old. So they need it for August 10th. That's their birthday. They love shades of green and they've been having some family issues and they just need some cheering up. They're part of the, they nominator said the nominee is a great candidate because they're part of the LGBT community, and they try to spread awareness about the stigmas to others. And yeah, so I'm excited to make that for them. They love shades of green, so that's easy to do. I'll just pull a bunch of green out of my cabinet and make a really fun blanket for them. So, and then once I get it into like a nice paper bag or something for them to pick up at my workplace so it's anonymous, then I'll print out a cute little postcard saying, you know, like, hope your day's going well. I heard you need a little bit of cheering up. Maybe I'll put that, I don't know. I'll let you guys know what I do put on it eventually, but that's your update for today. In the next few days, I'll probably make a few more blankets or at least start some. Here's the progress on the green blanket. I wanted to do a granny square, just because I haven't done one for a blanket actually. So I think this is as big as I'm going to make the granny square because it is quite wide. I wear a size 3X, so I'm going to guess how wide this is. Hold on. So my guess is, I'll say 28 inches. Let's measure it and see. What do you think the size is, Larry? What do you think? Oh. I was close. It's about 33. So 32, 33. But it's always fun to guess, right? Okay, so that's the progress there. The green blanket. So now I'm gonna have to decide what stitch I want to do. I might continue with the granny stitch because it's for someone who's older. They're 16. So I might continue with the granny stitch, or I might do the grit stitch, Suzette stitch, which is single crochet 1, double crochet 1, and then go to the next one and just repeat that. Always end on a single crochet. The end of the row. I recently did an entire cardigan out of that, and it was really nice. The texture turns out really nice. So I might do that. I might do one side granny square, one side the grit stitch. And then, of course, so I'm going to add like length to two sides, so top and bottom, for example. And then around the entire thing, I'll do a solid color border. So it's quite nice. I started out with like the daisy granny square. So I did 12 double crochets and then 12 clusters of 3 triple crochets. It's hard to think when you have a squeaky puppy around. So it's quite nice. And of course I'll weave in all the ends, but whatever. It's a 2-row repeat. So it goes pretty fast when you use a size 10mm hook and blanket yarn. So yay for quick projects. So far, we still only had one response to my blanket ferrying. I'm thinking I'll post in a few other Facebook groups, hopefully anonymously. I'm assuming that the Facebook algorithm is just isn't showing people in the group I had posted in, or, well, I had my friend post. But I finished this one because the person I nominated really likes green. I started with a daisy granny square and worked it out. So you can see it with square ends. And then I did one more row of granny stitch here, and then I moved to the grit stitch. Grit or Suzette stitch. And then since it's for someone who's 16, I felt fine doing granny stitch border. So it's quite nice. I hope they love it. So it's a pretty good size. I like how it turned out. I really like the greens and the gray together, so I hope they love it. When I'm sitting on the couch, when I'm making a blanket, I'm sitting on the couch and I measure it so it, you know, falls over my feet and then up to my shoulders. So I know it's long enough for most people. I'm about 5'8", so pretty average. But turned out really nice. I like it. Hi everyone. Thanks for sticking with me through this video. Unfortunately, there was only ever that one response. I'm happy that person got their blanket. They actually picked it up from my workplace today, so that worked out great. Unfortunately, I'm just gonna, you know, cancel the blanket fairy. I tried. I think if I didn't want to remain anonymous online, I would have had like a better of a response. I could have posted about it a bit more, but I wanted to remain anonymous because I don't want people asking me for free things all the time, because I wanted to do this for charity, right? To brighten somebody's day. So in the end, I think I made about 8 blankets. The one was picked up by the person that was, or the person who nominated the other person. So that was picked up today. And the remaining 9 or 8 or whatever it was went to Blankets for Canada Stratford chapter, where I donate my yarn to. Well, my extra yarn. And I have a good relationship with the chapter organizer, person, sponsor. Marcy is her name. And I had dropped them off on her porch with a bunch of yarn. And she had said, "Oh, wow, you made blankets this time. Usually you don't, you know." And I had said, yeah, and I told her about it. And I had said, if you do cover the women's shelter in your town already, I would really appreciate them going there. Because, you know, they were like child size, so I didn't want her taking them to like a church or, you know, I mean, it's fine if they would have went to a church, but I really wanted them to brighten like a child's day. You know, people running from abusive relationships usually have to leave in the middle of the night with nothing on them. So that's tough. And if I can, you know, give a child a sense of comfort through that really hard time, that's what I really want. So she was happy to drop them off there. They actually covered that location already in their town, so it worked out in the end. So now I'm going to take my post down off of our local Facebook group in regards to the blanket fairy and just, you know, call it a day. So this video will go up this Sunday, July 28th, I think. I think today's the 26th. It's Friday. So thanks for watching this video. I appreciate it. Of course, I wanted it to work out a bit better than it did, but honestly, it's fine. I will still continue to crochet and knit blankets for charity, and maybe I'll just take them to the women's shelter in that town or to my charity lady, because she supports a lot of organizations, so she'll know where they're needed, right? So thanks for sticking with me through this video. If you liked my efforts, please like, subscribe, share my channel. I would really appreciate it. I'm still trying to post every Sunday. There are some weeks where I'm like, oh no, what am I going to post? But there's usually something I can, you know, do. I do have some that I am working on, but they'll take a while to, you know, get enough clips for. So thanks again for watching. Please remember that you are strong, you are beautiful, you are loved, and the world appreciates having you here.